Yeah, you can. You press. Houston returns to the pitch 2 weeks removed from the last time they took the field in National Women's Soccer League competition. It was a draw, 0-0. We'll remind you about it in just a bit. But first, testing.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I'm on green. Okay. And it's close enough? It's close enough?
We return to the pitch 2 weeks removed from the last time Houston took the field here at BBVA Compass Stadium in National Women's Soccer League competition. The traveling in from Western New York, it's the Flash, ranked 9th in the standings. We return to the scene of the crime.
It was a crime, Heather.
A goalless crime. The sniper.
That must be like a victimless crime.
Yeah. Sniper shooting the ball out of the way of the goal. We jump right back into
midfielder number 11, Brittany Fox. At forward, number 21, Melissa Henderson. Forward, number 14, Jessica McDonald. And forward, number 7, Kalia Ohai.
We return to National Women's Soccer League action here at BBVA Compass Stadium as we get ready for the Western New York Flash, who are visiting the Houston Dash. Both teams sit level in the table on 10 points, but surely that'll change tonight. We might see something incredible. Lane Sieben joined by Jen Cooper for the broadcast tonight in a hot and humid, muggy Houston, Texas. It's been 2 weeks since these two teams have both played because of the Women's World Cup hiatus. Now they're back in action before they take another lengthy break here in just a bit. What are we expecting with the 12-day layoff?
Well, I know Randy Waldrum wanted to spend a lot of time kind of refocusing these players. They didn't get as many practices as they want because of some of the rain issues that Houston has been having. But the point that he made clear to these players is that this is like a playoff game. Because of how close the standings are, you have 6 teams sitting on 10 or 11 points. A loss tonight could be giving up 6 points.
Now we have to refresh the viewers' minds about what happened 2 weeks ago. That was against the Portland Thorns here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Jen, you were here for that game. Talk about missed opportunities. This was a clinic of that.
This could have been a 3-2 game. This could have been a 4-1 game. Surprisingly, ended up 0-0 as both teams were frankly very wasteful in front of goal with their opportunities. Also, you had a couple of situations where the goalkeepers made great saves, Bianca Henniger and Michelle Betos both coming up big for their teams. And here, an opportunity, Camilla setting up McCarty, who then sets up Ohai and McDonald and missing a sitter on an open net. Very frustrating for the team. But at the same time, holding Portland scoreless for their second match against Portland is big for the team.
It's a 4-match unbeaten streak right now for Houston Dash, a 3-match unbeaten streak for Western New York Flash. And we take a look at the standings right now. The two top teams, the Stars and the Spirit, are going at it, and the Flash just came off beating the Stars.
Right. Still tied 0-0 for Chicago, Washington right now. And, you know, like I mentioned, the 3 points for either the Flash or the Dash is going to jump them up to third place. Tomorrow you've got Boston, Seattle. There's a huge opportunity here for one team to claim their spot in the top 3.
Very tightly contested for these two teams on the bottom half of the table. We're nearing the halfway point of the season, and coming up, we'll get the starting lineups and go back down to the field when we have the coin toss and the national anthem here for you at BBVA Compass Stadium as we step away for just a moment.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on performance and provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communal resources with BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking. Today at 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
He's taking the world by storm. Grammy-nominated Ed Sheeran, live in concert. BBVA Compass Stadium, September 3rd, with special guest Christina Perri. Tickets on sale now at bbvacompassstadium.com. AXI. In stores and online now. More at EdSheeran.com. Produced by AEG Live and the Messina Group.
Learn soccer the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo, the Dynamo Youth.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo Youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
Back here at BBVA Compass Stadium, we are excited to bring you, after a 2-week layoff, the Flash against the Dash, who are hosting them. Lane Zeben, Jen Cooper back inside. These two teams have star players that they really like to focus on. One a youngster, one a veteran. First, we take a look at Western New York Flash, Samantha Mewis, who has been on a tear recently. Jen, what has she done to earn the starting spot she has?
Well, she has great experience both from UCLA as a national champion and also some caps with the U.S. national team. She was one of 4, count them 4, first-round draft picks for the Western New York Flash this January at the draft in Philadelphia, and she has produced for this team. She's their leading scorer so far on the season and just one of many rookies to have an impact on this Flash squad.
630 minutes that she's played. We'll take a look at her credentials here from UCLA out of Hanson, Massachusetts. She stands 5'11". What dangers does that pose for the Dash?
Well, thankfully, Randy Waldrum has made a lot of improvements to the back line so that they can match that height. I would not have been able to say the same last year, but she has been dangerous from all over the field, so she'll be the player to watch.
And we take a look at who the Dash will counter with on defense. It's Ella Masser, who moves into that defensive role.
Now, last season, Ella Masser was, one of the top scorers, scoring the first ever goal in club history here at Boston. Also, the first ever home goal in club history a month later against Chicago. Now, for this season, Randy Waldron converted her to an outside back, needing some defensive support, and it's worked pretty well so far. That 1-0 win at Portland a few weeks ago, she would have been the player of the match had Bianca Henniger not stood on her head and kept Portland out of the net. So she is the heart and soul of this team, and while Erin McLeod is in Canada with the World Cup, she has been the team's captain.
Out of Illinois, she's 28 years old. Rightly so, the captain. Some would call her the veteran, even at her young age. A Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year from 2006, the last time that she was in college. Let's take a look, though, at the full starting lineups for both these squads. First, for the Flash, they're anchored by Brittany Taylor on defense. She's also the captain.
Right, and as we mentioned, the rookies, you got lots of rookies out there, but more importantly, names that we recognize. Becky Edwards, who was part of that trade last fall to bring Carly Lloyd to the Dash. Becky, the captain of their midfield. Also, Ashley Nick traded to the Flash last month in exchange for Tony Presley.
Chantel Jones back in goal as well after her suspension. She started the last game also. For the Dash, they're anchored by Ella Masser on the outside, right side of that defensive line. Bianca Henninger also getting the start with McLeod, as you mentioned, away for Canada.
Right, and we're looking at a diamond midfield with Brittany Bach at the top. Nikki Cross moving from the back line up into that midfield to be the bottom of that diamond, using Jessica McDonald, Kaylee Ohai up top. We'll see how that matches up against the Flash.
We're ready to get rolling here inside BBVA Compass Stadium. It's in the 80s. It is muggy. It is humid. It is hot. And we're looking for some speedy action. It might get a little confusing, Jen, with the Dash and the Flash. We'll do our best up here for you on the broadcast, though.
We might just stick to saying New York and Houston. Might be easier. We'll see how that goes.
I'll tell you, the Dash on 4 matches unbeaten in their last 4 games. It's the longest streak in franchise history so far. Jen, you've been here for most of it. What allows them to come out of these games with so many draws with this defense that they've had to shuffle all these players around with?
Well, I feel like each move that Randy Waldrum has made has improved the squad. The conversion of Ella Masser to left back was surprising, but I think we've seen the payoff of it. More importantly, getting Nikki Cross, getting Tony Presley, and then the most recent acquisitions of Camilla from Brazil and Ellie Brush from Australia, 2 players that came close to making their country's Women's World Cup rosters but didn't. Just keep strengthening that back line. And of course, we wouldn't have needed all those acquisitions if Stephanie Oakes had not gone down with an ACL tear in April. But I feel like each move that Coach Waldrum has made has just really strengthened that back line and also bringing in some size and experience. Some of these names, like Nikki Cross, who we got last fall, trading away Ari Romero, who was a big fan favorite. You're like, she's kind of old. It's like, well, it's all relative. She's not 22, but she has some experience, she has some height, and she's started every match so far.
The Flash moving from left to right across your screen in the white with the red stripe going across the chest. They got the white socks on as well, while the Dash are in their home orange with the orange socks. They're moving from right to left. This is McDonald, the new addition. Sends a cross in, and it's cleared off the back line. Running to the outside, that's Hinkle, who got her left boot in there, and she's on the ball now. A very stable starting lineup for the Western New York Flash. Head coach Aaron Lyons, Randy Waldrum for the Dash. They will be the 2 men governing both these squads here in this contest, the first out of 2 that they will play against each other this season.
And surprising for the Flash that you're not seeing a lot of amateurs in these lineups while the World Cup players are gone.
On the outside with a turn and a nice sliding tackle there from Masser, who is wearing the cap. She's also got the captain's armband. It'll be the first corner kick. Going to take it, it is the former Dash player, Becky Edwards. Edwards, their premier corner kick taker, and the Flash bring everybody forward, save 1 person in the back. And she'll send in the corner. Opportunity, Henninger with a double-fisted punch. Didn't get it far enough, but it was cleared on a second chance opportunity by the Dash defense. And then a miscue on the slice shot from Edmonds. It'll be a goal kick. That was a good chance there for the Flash. Came in pretty close into that 6-yard area. That's what Edwards does. I know head coach Randy Waldrum didn't want to give up Becky Edwards for that specific purpose for how many corners she took last year for this team.
And then to lose Stephanie Oakes on top of that, who had been the replacement corner kick taker for Becky Edwards.
This is Fields. Sends it out wide. This is Mewis, our rookie spotlight that we had in the opening. Mewis on the right foot, sends it in, kicks up some turf as she does it in the process. Up to McDonald up top. Back line. Dahlkemper, the number 3 draft pick in 2015. A bunch of rookies on this squad getting the start. Jen, you touched on it briefly in the opening. Dahlkemper, one of them. Hinkle, another. Mewis, the third. They also have Fields, who's the 4th starter.
Yeah, and Fields was actually drafted by Boston Breakers, didn't get signed with the team, so was able to find a spot with the Western New York Flash.
This will be Hinkle on the throw-in, far side of the field. Just getting underway here, 3 minutes in. 0-0 our score. Takeaway. Sent ahead. Ojai was in an offside position, so she had to wait. And here you see McDonald's speed. Down that right flank, and well, she picked it up for just a moment. It looks like we're going to have a throw-in, able to save that Hinkle from going out over the end line. The addition of McDonald, she is the scorer now this season. She's got 4 goals. She had 11 last.
Leading scorer for Portland.
Long deep throw-in. Header is cleared by Nick.
And speaking of draftees, she was part of a draft day trade for the Dash.
This is Tony Presley passing it all the way back to Henninger. 24-year-old boots it forward out of Santa Clara to Masser on the outside. Poked away for a throw-in. Very lively crowd here at BBVA. It's been 2 weeks, Jen. They've been begging for their women's soccer that's not been overseas or up north above us.
Especially after all the watch parties that the Dash has hosted at the Phoenix on Westheimer, where we've had standing room only crowds. You know, the Dash fans are hungry for more of this in person.
This is Ojai, fed through, beautiful pass, sends it into the middle, and Edwards is back. The clearance to the outside, brilliant move again from Kalia. Shove in the middle from Bach. It'll be a foul, and a quick restart from the Flash as they move down this near flank. The right side, which is where the Flash do like to move. Clear takedown there from Bach. On the right side, this is Fields. Fields with a cross in. It was taken away. And then cleared out. There on the near side, you see Camilla, the Brazilian, who is making her 2nd appearance for the Dash. She is tasked with guarding Fields right now. And she lets it run over the end line for a goal.
And Camilla had the unfortunate while Brazil is in winter, so she arrived in Houston and had a little bit of a heat humidity shock, but I think she's adjusted now. I mean, being Brazilian after all.
It took me a second to hear you say unfortunate, because I hear winter, I think snow, and then I remembered it was Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil moving right along in the Women's World Cup. USA will play in a couple of days as well. The round of 16 moving through. We'll talk more on it at halftime. This is to the outside. This is Ellie Brush, the Australian. She was not called up to the Australian national team that the United States beat. And again, another great 1-2 feed for Ojai, who runs down the right side. Cleared out by Hinkle. Only as far as Brush, right at half field. Since McDonald through, she's onside. She's waiting for help in the middle. She'll take it into the 18, and nobody there really for her to cross it in at the penalty spot. They were late arriving. That was McCarty who was nearest to her. Already we've seen Jen McDonald get into that back line of this Flash team. The speed looks to be a problem for the Flash.
Definitely, and I think that's what Randy Waldrum is trying to do, especially getting Melissa Henderson and Tiffany McCarty, getting them to push up from the outside.
Another long throw in, headed on by Bach. A volley chance. Saved. first time we've called him. Jones back in off the suspension that she had for one game. She did play last week. Nice head down volley, kept focus all the way through. Good opportunity there for the Dash to capitalize.
And one thing about this diamond midfield, it lets Randy Waldrum get Henderson and McCarty both on the field without having to sacrifice a forward. One of the things he said about McCarty is like, she's such a great athlete. He's like, how can I not have her out there?
This is Edmonds with the throw-in into the middle for Nick. Nick, who does play the forward position but drops back into the midfield occasionally. This is Hinkle. Off the head of Henderson. Foul clearance from Cross. Gives the Flash control. Edmonds will send it in. Looking to pick out Fields up at the spot. Pardon me, that was Williams. This is Fields challenging for the ball. And she wins it away with a great tackle on Camilla. Moving through, this is Williams. Williams one-on-one with a Dash defense. To Mewis, deflected up and over. It'll be another corner kick for the Flash, who are pressing here 8 minutes in. There you see the danger of Mewis and why the Dash want to contain her. They can only hope to out of UCLA. The 22-year-old has started now 8 games this season.
And she's not the only Mewis in the league. Older sister Christy Mewis, part of the Boston Breakers squad. She got to play against her sister and beat her, no less.
This is Edwards. Sends it in, headed clear by Cross, and there was an infraction in the penalty area. It'll be Henninger's kick. Henninger filling in for McLeod, who has gone with Canada. Sesselman and Chapman, Lauren Sesselman, Alicia Chapman also gone with Canada. Morgan Bryan, Carly Lloyd, Megan Klinenberg gone for the United States. The Flash only have 3 players gone. LaRue, Ingen, and Njoya.
And Njoya is playing tonight, right now,
I was going to say, yeah,
against
for
China. Yeah, Canada plays tomorrow. They'll face Switzerland, and then USA plays Monday night against Colombia. Both games, there will be watch parties at the Phoenix on Westheimer. So if you're anywhere near Houston, come and join the Dash for the watch parties. This
is Mewis. Trying to go around Cross, finds the outside for Fields, and it's taken away by Camilla. Hinkle with the trap. Out of Denver, Colorado. Went to school, though, in Lubbock, Texas, out at Texas Tech. The number 7 draft pick in this most recent class.
And she got to be part of that Texas Tech squad that made it to the NCAA Sweet 16 this past fall.
A surprising run for Texas Tech, too. This is Fields. With a cross in. Poked clear by Henderson. Camilla can't chase it down. Now, Texas Tech was up there. There are a couple of reserve players that they brought up, the amateurs from Texas A&M, who made it very deep into the tournament. Allie Bailey, Jordan Day. May see them a little bit later with the lack of roster depth that these teams have right now because of the Women's World Cup going on in Canada.
It's been interesting to see how different teams have handled the international call-ups and how it's affected their rosters. Like in the case of Western New York, there's only 3 players gone.
This is Williams trying to get around 2 defenders. Camilla had to take it to the ground to get it away, and it's a throw in deep in the corner. A lot of control here for the Flash. Playing on the attacking third. Houston trying to play defense the best they can right now, and that's a skill set that Randy Waldrum has impressed upon his players. This is Williams, knocks it out of bounds. It'll be another goal kick for Houston.
I know the record isn't necessarily what Randy wants so far this season, but given that they have a 0 goal differential compared to, I think they were about -9 this time last season, that's a huge improvement for this club.
Well, the Flash right now are at a -1 differential in their 8 games that they've played. The 7 games that they've played, this being the 8th. Tackle from behind from Henderson. Took it right off Spencer. And he gives it right away.
What's impressive to me about the Flash is that their opening match at Portland, they lost 5-1. You know, so they've made up that goal differential, and I think they've found their form.
Yeah, the Dash with 2 wins, 2 losses, and 4 draws. I mean, it's a point. You're taking a point. That's what you want. And with the NWSL currently clustered all together right now with the 8 or 9 games that most teams have played, it's going to be very crucial, those 1 points down the road, when you can just eke out that 1 win to get all 3 points.
Especially when we're just 2 games away from the national teamers returning to their squads. I know a lot of the coaches felt that whoever wins this kind of middle season of the NWSL is who can take the whole season.
Crossing in, it's a good one. Williams just underneath it. Hinkle with a nice delivery with the left foot from the outside. An easy rollout for Henninger. It was all Dash through the first 10 minutes, and just recently the Flash have put their foot on the accelerator for the moment. This is the real first bit of control that we've seen from Houston through these first 13 minutes.
Some nice passing, and I do have to mention the field if we have any viewers that are wondering what's up with the BBVA field. It was a new field that was put in after a concert in May, and then just a few days later we had the historic Memorial Day floods, and the field actually sat under 4 feet of water for a day or two. So the field is having some issues, but it's supposed to be replaced after tonight's game is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's not in the best of shape that we've seen here, but I guess with torrential downpours that come unexpectedly.
And 4 feet of water.
And mark anarchy in the city of Houston. It is the Bayou City for a reason.
I guess we can say at least it's not turf.
There's been some controversy there in Canada with what's going on in the turf and the tire clippings and the shavings that they have up there. And a bunch of complaints from the players and the coaches. But they're playing through it, just as the Dash and Flash will here as well. You see the sod sometimes kick up on your screen. That's just empty gaps where there's no grass. This is Masser, first touch in a while. Sends in a great looking ball just out of the reach of Bach. Another good attacking chance brought on by Ella Masser now. That's 2 for her in this game down that right flank. But again, on the opposite side, here come the Flash. Western New York trying to make a move on a 3-match unbeaten streak. They have 2 wins and a draw, while the Dash have 1 win and 3 draws. They've taken 5 points in those games. Moving down the middle. This is Ojai looking for an opportunity. Drops it back. This is Henderson. Henderson again there. To the outside, Henderson out of Notre Dame. Ojai wanting to put the moves on the defense, and she wins the corner kick. It's another one for the Dash, and the crowd reacts accordingly.
And if only we had Stephanie Oakes to take that corner. So Henderson and Ojai have been taking most of the corners since Oakes' injury.
Oh, it looks like Henderson
maybe not.
will move over there. They're drawing something up from the training ground, perhaps?
Oh, Bach's coming back in the middle. I thought maybe Bach was running over there to take the kick.
It will be Henderson. She'll send in a nice lofty ball, back post, and I think Jones may have gotten a fist of that if she punched it high and above the Dash heads. They retain possession at midfield. Tell you, the corner kicks seem to be more of a problem for both these teams right now than the regular run of play does. Set pieces, always a problem.
I know that's been an issue for Randy Waldrum, and the Dash is weak defending on set pieces.
This is Cross looking for McDonald, who made a splash in her first few minutes of this game with that speed and since reined it back in for just a bit.
And I'm pretty sure she's the only player in NWSL history who has scored against both teams she's been on. So she scored for Portland against the Dash and for Dash against Portland.
across the back line. This brush to the outside from Masser. Masser one-on-one with Hinkle. Trying to get to the end line, and it's actually cleared out of play. Oh, it thought it was a corner kick. I thought Masser was going to win one there, but it will be a goal kick for the Flash.
And on the bench tonight, just so everybody know who our subs are for Western New York, you've got D'Angelo, Frisbee, Hamilton, Stewart, and Eddie. And the subs for the Houston Dash, Allie Bailey, Jordan Jackson, Jen LaPont, Cammie Privet, Jasmine Avant, Rachel Axon, and Jordan Day. Most of those amateur call-ups.
Sent out a play on a bad cross from the back line. These two teams will face off against each other here in a couple of weeks. It'll be up in New York. It'll be a Flash throw-in.
Yeah, the Flash were one of two teams last season where the Dash actually came away with a winning record.
A 1-2. This is Mewis trying to send it to the outside for Spencer. Masser over there to take it away. This is Henderson. Gives it away. Trying to win it back. Ooh, with a late shove from behind on Mewis. The result of frustration there from Henderson after losing the ball, losing possession. She'll get a talking to. I think she's probably only got one more of those before the card comes out the next time from our referee. Good position here, though, for the Flash. First real set piece that's give or take 35 yards out.
And of course, Becky Edwards setting up for that kick. She often took these kicks for the Dash last season.
We've seen her score on them before, too, so we definitely know what she's capable of as Ojai joins the wall late. Edwards with a good opportunity here. Might just be a bit too far out to attack goal directly. So she'll send in the cross. It's Mewis who missed it. Tried to get that header on the front. Just sailed out of bounds harmlessly. Also a good look for Brittany Taylor, the captain.
She's one of the few players on the Flash roster who actually played for the Flash last year. I think there's just 4 of them tonight that have minutes for the Flash in both 2014 and 2015.
She comes out of Yukon, 27-year-old from Campbell Hall, New York. Cross with a clearance into space. Edmonds with a turn. High press, though, from the team in orange. Presley, not the most suggestive of clearances, but Camilla does well to keep possession. It's taken away immediately by Fields. And the Flash have control once again. Sent through. And the offside flag is raised. Still scoreless, 20 minutes in. We're in the 21st minute. And the Dash now running almost over 100 minutes without scoring a goal over a 2-week span. That was the last time they touched the field. That was here at home against the Portland Thorns. That was a 0-0 draw.
But thankfully it's been even longer since they've allowed a goal.
Reminds me of what Chelsea does in the Premier League. Very defensive team, stalwart Jose Mourinho with his very sit-back, laid-back approach with the counterattack.
I don't think Randy's going to want to hear that because he bleeds red, as in Man U red. So hopefully he'll just mute this part of the broadcast when he watches later. Well, you mentioned Brittany Taylor before, and one of the stats that I love about Brittany Taylor is she got her first cap for the U.S. national team in that famous snow game where they played in the snow in Salt Lake City and made snow angels after they scored. A lot of people talk about how that was Alex Morgan's first game, but it was also Brittany Taylor's.
This is Williams feeding it through. Spencer with an opportunity. Mewis waiting for it. Has it taken away on a great defensive play from Cross. She was a trade from the Spirit back in December, Nikki Cross. She's played every single game so far, 720 minutes, the most for any Dash player currently on this roster.
And I know it was hard for Dash fans to see Ari Romero go, who had played almost every game for the Dash last season at left back, was just such a solid rookie. But knowing that she would be gone with Mexico for both the World Cup and next month's Pan American Games, Randy needed someone who could be here the whole season.
Foul was called against the Flash. Kalia Ohai involved in the struggle, so she will take the direct free kick. A long send-in for her. Back post header is off target from Tony Presley. Presley out of Florida State. 25-year-old hails from Melbourne, Florida. Acquired from the Flash back on May 11th earlier this year. So she's one of those players facing her former team. Mewis wins the header. Camilla let it run. She almost got burned for it, but it was touched out of play. Fields the aggressor. Camilla with the throw into Brock. Brittany Bach, who returns to this team. Former first-round pick last year. They said she was questionable today on the injury report. She had a right foot pain is what they classified it as. She does make the start out there, though. If it wasn't her, it was going to be Jordan Jackson.
Yeah, she had a longer recovery than they expected after the ACL tear in that inaugural game last year. Yeah, I think she pushed too hard. She talked about how she kind of trained with some of the Dynamo players coming back from ACL, and that she felt it made her a little too competitive in her recovery. And so she actually had to go under the knife again in December. And they just wanted to make sure when she came back she was fully fit and ready. And it's been great to see that since May 15th she's seen solid minutes in every game.
Nothing like being told you're doing it too well, too fast.
Exactly.
To bring back in
a true competitor.
This is a nice turn in the middle. McDonald sets herself up. A curling shot deflected off the post. Jones got a hand there. Still the Dash attacked, and they'll win a corner kick on the follow-up from Ohai. But McDonald almost got him on the score sheet. Great curling shot from McDonald, and Jones did just enough to keep it out of the net.
She gets it off of her right foot. Great placement, but just a little touch from Jones and a help from the post, and it's not in.
Well, she had the game Jones did last 2 weeks ago, and here she punches it clear again. Not far enough, and it's just volleyed high. The Dash striking here late in the first half. 25th minute was their best opportunity of the game.
Yeah, and we got to talk about Chantel Jones. You know, she was a backup at Washington Spirit last year, meant to be the backup for New York Flash this year. Of course, Sabrina D'Angelo had kind of a freak injury at Kansas City about a month ago. But Chantel had a great offseason in Australia, part of the Westfield W League. Went all the way to the final, helped Canberra United win 3-1 over Perth Glory, including saving a penalty kick. And Dash's own Stephanie Oakes had the first goal in that match. So props to Chantel Jones.
And this is only her third start here on a lazy backwards pass from her defense, and she has to come out of her penalty area to make the save. McDonald would have been in again with a wide open net. And we know that she missed that wide open chance against the Thorns 2 weeks ago. You'd assume something like that won't happen again on her watch the rest of the season.
Especially following the Sky Blue game the week before, where they had a penalty kick opportunity. McDonald stood up to take it and did not convert that one. And you know, we know that the Dash do not have the best history of converting penalty kicks.
Camilla with a nice bit of skill showing down the left side. Out of play for a goal kick. Catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long on Root Sports Southwest, the home of Dash Soccer and Houston Dynamo Soccer. The Dynamo are in Portland. They'll be taking on the Timbers.
They'll kick off right about the time this game ends.
They also have the U.S. Open going on for Father's Day weekend. We have a special treat for you coming up at halftime with Father's Day tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned in here on our broadcast. 27th minute, still scoreless. Some great opportunities, though. It has not been The game that we expected, like we had with the Thorns, we do expect some goals to come out of this. Pass inside for Henderson.
Yeah, unlike last season where you had a very condensed schedule, a shorter time period and more games being played, I think the longer time period and fewer games and the World Cup break has allowed these coaches to kind of, okay, let's stop, look at what we've been doing, let's make some adjustments, and I think it's just going to benefit the players and the fans.
Up top, this is Williams. Lynn Williams came out of Pepperdine, 22-year-old. Has it taken away. He leads the team with 12 shots on goal. Only 1 goal scored this season. This is Masser on the outside. And there's always that age-long debate, at least for people in the United States, when it comes to, do you play the season like they do overseas? Do you do it September to May and then leave the summer open, or do you keep it how it is and let the World Cup run sort of in and amongst the season? So you're playing double and overtime, or are you playing all year round during some of those years that you have some of these national tournaments?
And then you're going to have the same challenge next summer, you know, with the Olympics. Granted, it's a smaller tournament; it doesn't take quite as long, and it falls a little later. But you still have the same challenge. You know, the league needs to play when there's not as much competition for fans, and when they can get the stadiums, which means, unfortunately, like MLS, they're playing through the summer.
Camilla ready for the throw-in. 20-year-old, one of the youngest on the team, and handball called. It will be a dash free kick.
I asked Randy how Camilla was getting along, you know, having just arrived, and he said, Google Translate has helped us a lot.
Oh, she'll learn. Nothing gets past the keeper. That's why you should listen to Keeper Notes Soccer Show every Sunday, 10 a.m. on Yahoo Sports Radio 1560. For more info, check out keepernotes.com.
And tomorrow morning's show will be all Women's World Cup, all dash. I will have special guests Rachel Axon and Bianca Henninger will be in studio with me. We're going to rehash the Women's World Cup so far, and of course talk about tonight's game. So if you're not in the Houston area to get that ready, you can listen to YSR1560.com.
Crossover from Hinkle. Finds the feet of Fields on the turn. Left-footed shot sails just wide. Shots are coming in. Fields out of Florida State, the 21-year-old. Just took that bend out of play. It's amazing how these players and athletes can take the spin off the ball and make it knuckle like that. Just went the wrong way. There's no control over it when you do it.
And Fields had the winning goal in the NCAA final last December, helping Florida State win their first ever national title 1-0 over Virginia. Every time I mention that to Morgan Bryan, she frowns at me. Or rather, I should say she glares at me. But big win for Florida State. I know the veterans like Becky Edwards were very proud of that.
You've got a lot of Florida State players on this field right now, along with Edwards and Fields. And you got Jones, who played for Virginia back in her day. So you better bet there's some locker room tension going on. Friendly rivalry.
And then, of course, you have a lot of the 2013 champions, UCLA. You know, they're on the field as well. That was an amazing class. And much like we talked about the 4 draft picks for New York in the first round this past January, UCLA had, I think it was 6 picks in the top 19 players. Amazing.
Just past the 30th minute. And we're still scoreless here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Masser into the middle. This is Cross with a bit of room. This is Ojai. Trying to find the outside, and it's deflected off her own shin pad. It'll be a goal kick. Nice spurts of this game every 4 or 5 minutes or so, Jen, that we've had a decent dose of action injected into the life.
I feel like both teams are finding their rhythm, controlling the ball a little better, even with this kind of uneven surface.
We haven't really seen the surface play a big part in any decisions so far, but that could change the longer it goes on. You mentioned that it's probably going to be taken up and replenished.
Yeah, there won't be another game until the U.S. Open Cup game on the 30th.
In the middle, Spencer trying to find Mewis. Cleared high by McCarty. Play in the middle for Nick. To the outside, this is Hinkle. One-on-one with Henderson. And it's Henderson who wins over. A dangerous play back into the middle. Kept in play on the far side. Edwards trying to get it back to her defense. And a high clearance by Dalkemper. Not a successful trap from Cross. Henninger couldn't pick it up.
Smart of her to notice that at the last minute.
A volley attempt from Edwards out of play.
Yeah, it looked like she was going to come out with her hands, and then she's like, wait, off my own player.
That's always a fine line, whether it's a pass back that was on purpose. Of course, you can't pick that up. It becomes an indirect free kick. On a deflection, though, the keeper is at liberty at the referee's discretion to pick it up.
So Bianca got Player of the Week for that game at Portland, May 23rd, the 1-0 win. First time the Dash had beat Portland. First time for Bianca to get Player of the Week, and only the second time we've seen a Dash player get Player of the Week honors in club history.
McLeod did play in one game before going off to Canada, much like many of the athletes did, the star players for Team USA that are out there. Klinenberg, Carly Lloyd, she even scored a goal. And we know what Klinenberg's capable of with her header save that she had in that game.
Yeah, that line, save off the line against Sweden, that was beautiful, especially for a player who's 5'2", perfect timing. And I loved her attitude afterwards. She was talking to the media. She said, frankly, that's my job. I do want to mention about Henninger, you know, she's referred to as the backup, but one of the things that Randy said is that the trade he made for Bianca last year before the season started is one of the best trades he's ever made, that basically he feels he has two starting keepers.
Masser trying to keep it in play on the outside. Unable to. Oh, high. Going against Hinkle. Can't beat the wily defender on the inside track. Hinkle, 22-year-old. Help from her defense, gets the clearance. Presley with a header. Right to the feet for Fields. And this is Edmonds. Williams tried to lay it off. Couldn't get her foot squared around completely. This is Edwards. Edwards sends it through, nobody making the run, so Henninger will come out and collect. 35th minute as we enter the 36th. Still scoreless here at BBVA Compass Stadium.
And as we're in the middle of the Women's World Cup, I think we should mention that we have some Women's World Cup champions on the field. Of course, from the under-20 Women's World Cup, Chantel Jones, Becky Edwards, both part of that squad.
This is Brush to Masser. Looking for those spaces. Cross. Lots of crisscrossing up top for the Dash. Bach makes her way forward. There seems to be a stall at about this third of the field right here for the Dash. They can't quite know what to do with it once they get to a certain point.
It'll be interesting to see late in the half or maybe beginning of second half what changes Randy might make to that midfield, whether it's bringing on Rachel Axon or perhaps Jordan Jackson. First game in a while that we've seen Nikki Cross pushed up out of the back four.
McDonald will come across to take the long throw in again. They act almost like corner kicks for the distance that she gets. Here it comes. Bach waiting. The clearance from the flash. This is Camilla. One that set up that right foot lunges out for it. Pass to the outside from McCarty, was almost there for Ojai. Spencer to Hinkle. Get social with the Houston Dash. Like us, follow us, and watch us on all your favorite social media outlets to get extended coverage of your Houston Dash. Log on to houston-soccer.com/social media. Pass from Mewis. Left wanting as it trickles out of bounds for a throw-in. Beautiful evening here in Houston, Texas. The humidity never changes, 100%.
I think it's dropped a little bit since kickoff. Temperature not high enough, however, to require cooling breaks. The league mandated cooling breaks are based on a heat index of temperature and humidity.
We are in the middle of June, moving through the back half, and I tell you that warm weather is still to come after all the rain that I think the city of Houston has seen. I think they'll be wanting some more of it when those 100-degree temperatures hit. Big boot downfield for Henninger. And it falls nicely for McCarty. Finds Masser on the outside. Good movement here from the Dash. Ball sent in. McCarty. McDonald on the run. McDonald does it again. Her 5th goal of the season. What an excellent cross from the back line from Brush.
And just gets her head on it just in the right place. Hits it upper left corner. No way Chantel Jones is going to stop that. That's her 5th goal of the season, which puts her solidly in 3rd place league-wide behind Crystal Dunn and Sofia Huerta. She's definitely making up for those missed goals in the last 2 games.
She continues the trend of why head coach Randy Waldrum brought her over to the Dash from her team last year in Portland.
And I'm sure Thorns fans are still wondering why the Thorns gave her up.
McDonald, the 26-year-old, to take the lead here in the 39th minute. It's the first goal for the Dash almost in 3 weeks as well since they've been playing, and they had the 2-week layoff period. They tied Portland 0-0.
And it's got to feel good after that long break, and right before you're going into the locker room for halftime. That's a statement. So if they can finish out the half with the lead, that's got to feel good. And props to Ellie Brush. That was a great feed from distance, right to Jessica McDonald's head. Another player who just came in, and this is just her 3rd match with the club, but you can see the impact she's had.
Well, Jen, we promised them goals, and that was the first. Dash looking to make it a 2nd. This is Jones. Great heads-up play from McDonald, and McCarty was right behind her in case that had gone over her head, but she timed the jump perfectly.
And even though New York is, on a 3-game unbeaten streak, they still do not have an away win on the season. Though they can claim that they are the first team this season to beat the Chicago Red Stars, who up until that last game were unbeaten in, I think, 7 matches, and Western New York finally beat them 3-1. So again, parity in this league. You look at the standings table, so incredibly close.
Well, the Flash only have 1 draw on the season, while the Dash have 4 of them. Just got to start turning those into wins. There's Brush dancing around with it in the back line, and Masser.
And those draws tell such different stories. The 0-0 draw with Portland, both teams should have been on the board. A lot of missed opportunities, as opposed to the 2-2 draw with Chicago. Even though the Dash went up first, they felt lucky to hang on to get a 2-2 draw with what was the undefeated team of the league at the time.
This is Edwards and Fields, and the overlap stopped by Camilla. A nice flick with the outside of the boot. Cross finds Brock. Bach calling for it again. Henderson driving the oohs and the ahs from this Houston crowd. They're a happy one right now. Up 1-0 over Western New York. A 38th minute header from McDonald on a cross in from Ellie Brush. It's her first assist on the season.
Meanwhile, the other game that's supposed to be going on tonight, they're on a weather delay. Chicago-Washington Spirit. The last I saw, they were tied 0-0, so.
Wild shot comes in from Lynn Williams.
Those two at the top of the table.
Well, the table is clustered right now. A win for the Dash moves them all the way up into about 4th or 5th, depending on how some of the other games play out. They sit in the 7th position right now of a table with 9 teams. Headed on by Bach. Ojai trying to run up underneath it. McCarty. McDonald again using that noggin of hers. High pressure from Bach. And the Flash escape it for the moment. This is the rookie Mewis. To the outside. Fields will have a good chance here, and it's headed out. Brush all over the place right now. Another corner kick coming for Western New York. 44th minute. Can they strike before halftime, before we take it into the break?
And we had mentioned before the dangerous set pieces, how dangerous set pieces have been for the Dash.
It'll be Edwards once again to take it. Sent in, back post, headed down. Mewis calling for a handball, won't get it. Clearance from McCarty. Play on, says the referee. Hinkle with a move around 2 defenders, goes down, pops right back up. Dash looking for the counterattack. It'll have to be Ojai all on her own. She's got no support. 1-on-3. Sees that she's just got to beat her defender, and Hinkle does a good enough job to get it away from her.
You could see the moment where Ojai said, fine, if I have to do it myself, I'll try to make the run. Admirable job, but Hinkle shut her down.
Masser may have handballed that, but looked like she was out of play already before it would have been called as a free kick. Instead, a throw-in. We're nearing the end of regulation time here in the first half, and we'll have, it appears to be just 1 minute. That's what we're seeing, 1 minute. There haven't been too many stoppages, Jim. We've had a pretty fluid first half with lots of opportunities, a few lulls here and there, but the teams, I think, have finally found their feet. And for the Dash, we saw the great headed goal from McDonald in the 38th minute. Have you been happy so far with what you've seen?
I think we're seeing a really good rhythm evolve from this team, and I think with that 1-0 scoreline that Randy Waldrum is probably not going to make a change coming out for the second half. You know, I'm sure they'll take a look at Bach's ankle, but you know, or I think it was ankle pain that they said, but I think we're going to see this lineup for at least another 10-15 minutes coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Well, this is a team in Houston that is looking to keep up a franchise record and continuing record, ongoing 4-match unbeaten streak. McDonald with the header at the 38th minute off the cross from Ellie Brush has the Dash leading the Flash 1-0 at the half.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
From the first time the ball hit the back of the net, we could feel a sport on the rise. Our passion burning, our tradition building, our city united. Amongst a sea of orange, we are the home field advantage. We began, we will remain, forever orange, forever one.
Pioneering ways to protect neurons and give ALS patients more time. Personalizing drug treatments to treat the most aggressive breast cancer. Performing multi-organ transplants to fight the most complex illnesses. Creating options for patients who thought they had none. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
We're going to just chit-chat for a little bit, and then I'll throw it to the highlights. Back at BBVA Compass Stadium at the half here in Houston, Texas. The Dash lead the Flash 1-0 off a McDonald header in the 38th minute. Lane Zeben joined by Jen Cooper up here in the booth. Jen, we saw lightning strike once for the Dash against the Flash. It's been back and forth, though. There have been opportunities for both these teams. We've seen stuff that we didn't see against the Thorns, a goal scored.
Right. The Dash came out with a bang. Jess almost had an opportunity early on, and then it took a while for both teams to settle in. Once they settled in, we saw shots coming from both sides, but ultimately it was the Dash that struck first. Great feed from Ellie Brush to Jess McDonald's head into the upper left top of the net for her 5th goal of the season.
And we take a look at some of those highlights from this first half of erratic play, both for the Dash and Western New York. It was corner kicks galore in the opening for Western New York, and we've talked about how those have caused problems for both these teams.
Right. You know, one of the problems the Dash have seen over 2 seasons is a tendency to give up goals on set pieces.
Mewis with a shot late on in the first half, had it deflected over the crossbar. She was a real threat through the first 15 minutes, but I think Brandy Waldrum will like how they've contained her, at least in that back half of the first half.
Right. That rookie, the most dangerous scoring threat for the Flash, but they managed to shut her down. Will they be able to do that for the second half as well?
Bach there with an opportunity late on in the game before the goal was scored. And, you know, for Henninger, who's come in, had to fill the shoes of McLeod, you mentioned it during the run of play, not necessarily the name backup anymore. She is the starter for this team.
Right. One of the most important trades the club ever made, making sure you had a keeper of international quality level, knowing that Erin McLeod would be out last year and this year with the World Cup. And then, of course, that great goal from Jessica McDonald to put the team up 1-0. Doing her job at the other end of the field.
We take a look at some of the statistics to complement the highlights. And you see that with the Dash leading 1-0, they're both even on shots. The Flash do have the advantage in corner kicks and the fouls. It's really been a clean game. We've had a very successive moving game here in Houston. We're going to step away for just a moment and come back with a Father's Day special with Jen Cooper when we come back here on the broadcast.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
America, center of equal daughters, equal sons, all alike and good, grown, ungrown, young or old, strong, ample, fair, enduring, capable, rich, perennial with the earth, with freedom, law, and love.
Uniquely mapping a patient's brain to remove tumors without damaging healthy tissue. Navigating a patient's heart in real time with unprecedented accuracy. And visualizing facial reconstruction before the first incision. Seeing better so we can heal you better. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
1-0 our score currently between Houston and Western New York. We are here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Lane Zeben, Jen Cooper on the broadcast at halftime. We want to spitball for just a little bit, Jen, about the Women's World Cup. We can't overlook it with all the players that are missing for both these teams right now. 6 for the Dash, 3 for the Flash, and some of those Canadians and the United States players that are gone right now are making a big impact in the games that are going to be upcoming, that have already been played, in the games that are upcoming here in just a couple days.
Right, for the first time, Canada winning their group at the Women's World Cup. They took the top spot in Group A. So tomorrow night they face Switzerland. We'll have a watch party at the Phoenix on Westheimer. And the USA, of course, winning their group. Only one time have they not won their group. So they face Colombia Monday night. Again, watch party at the Phoenix on Westheimer for those of you in Houston. 2 round of 16 matches already played today. You saw Germany top Sweden 4-1. Not a big surprise that they won. Big surprise to me that they got that many goals. And then China eking out a 1-0 win over Cameroon. First time ever for Cameroon to reach the knockout round of the Women's World Cup. It's great to see this expanded field and see some new teams get in there. And US-Colombia, the winner of that match, will face China in the quarterfinals. Canada, if they get out of theirs, they will face either Norway or England. So once again, we're having a watch party Monday night for USA-Colombia and Sunday night for Canada-Switzerland.
These two teams we're following very closely, along with the rest of the Women's World Cup. It's getting very exciting, and we know about the Olympics that are coming up, and the position that some of these teams finish in this Women's World Cup really does affect their position for the Olympics next season. We have a very special tribute video to bring to you. Dash Dads are the highlight focus with Father's Day coming up tomorrow. Please enjoy.
My dad coached me until I was I think 12, so he was a big part of my youth soccer career. He was like the soccer dad, you know? He sacrificed a lot, and I think, of course we're pro soccer players now, but you don't know that when you're younger, you know? So it's at that time they're just sacrificing so you can have fun. And so I think that's a big thing that I'm so grateful for my parents and for what they did. And he's just spending his Saturdays and Sundays driving me to the middle of nowhere so I can have a good time.
You know, I would wake up, he would have waffles on the table for me before a game. I would come home and he would be the one taking my cleats and shin guards off when I was just this little girl. And he spoiled me, but yet really helped me continue to live out my dream and making sure that I could do everything I can to be where I want to be today. He still supports me so much, and to see the love and commitment is it's truly humbling, and I just want to make him proud.
Happy Father's Day, Dad. Love you. Happy Father's Day to all the Dash Dads out there. Thank you for what you do for all of us.
Hi, Dad. I just want to say thank you so much for everything you've done for me with all the support, the love, and encouragement and sacrifices you've given me so that I could be here today. And I love you so much. I am so thankful for you, and I just want to wish you the happiest Father's Day to you and to all the Dash Dads out there. Thank y'all so much for everything you do for us.
All right, Jen Cooper back in the booth with a very special guest, Kelly Henderson, father of Melissa Henderson. Kelly, thanks for being in the booth today.
Pleasure.
Now, I've heard a rumor that you have come to every single Houston Dash match except one, that you've made the drive all the way from North Texas.
That's probably not quite true, but I have been to 3 of them.
3 of them, I'm sure it's been much more than that. Did you ever make it up to any of her games when she was playing for Kansas City?
I did. Went up there a couple of times.
And that's a longer drive than coming to Houston, right?
It's a lot longer drive.
Well, talk about your role in, Melissa growing up, being a soccer player, what you provided as a dad.
When she was young, I helped coach her rec teams and, and that kind of stuff. And, she was quite an athlete and very determined, strong-willed, and it was, some of the best times of my life.
Well, and she got to play a lot on the youth national teams. I saw that she didn't even have time for club soccer, when she was a senior in high school because of her national team commitment.
Yeah, she played, for the national teams quite a bit and cut into her club playing time.
And then she played collegiately at Notre Dame with Randy Waldron. What was that like?
It was great. Randy was a great guy, and, everybody should, have the honor of sending their daughter to play for Randy, at a college. I mean, it was great.
And then she graduates, and she's drafted number 2 overall in the WPS draft. Month later, the league folds. I mean, what do you tell your daughter as, career advice? She's graduating from college. You want her to have a job.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was sort of tough. I was wondering what she's going to do. I was ready to, get her off the payroll. But, just sort of, hang in there, persevere. And, when that happened, she kind of lost her desire, for a period of time. But, she got it back when she was traded to Houston. She got to come back and play with her old coach, and I think she's got it back again.
Yeah, it all comes full circle. She's back in home state of Texas.
Yes.
All right, well, when we come back, we will have the kickoff of the second half, so stay with us.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
He's taking the world by storm. Grammy-nominated Ed Sheeran, live in concert. BBVA Compass Stadium, September 3rd, with special guest Christina Perri. Tickets on sale now at bbvacompassstadium.com, axs.com, or by phone. The #1 selling album, Multiply, is in stores and online now. There's more at edsheeran.com. Produced by AEG Live and the Messina Group.
Back to BBVA Compass Stadium. We return as head coach Randy Waldrum takes a look at his constructed team that he's thrown out there that have a 1-0 lead currently over the Western New York Flash. As far as we can see, no changes at the moment for either side as we kick off and get underway for our final 45 minutes. Houston, Texas. It's nice and muggy here. Lane's been joined by Jen Cooper on the broadcast. Happy Father's Day to everybody that tuned in, watched our little Dash Dad special that we had, and Melissa Henderson's father in an interview as well. The Dash playing defense quickly. That was Williams on the outside, winning the corner, and this is much like how the first half started off with the Flash getting themselves a corner kick. They almost scored on that first one. We saw it in the highlight package that our crew put together. Becky Edwards, the former Dash player, will go over to take it. She'll send it in over everybody, and I think it came off a Flash player.
Becky Edwards, one of the Iron Women of this league. She was basically the Iron Woman for Portland until she went out with a knee injury in the 2013 season. Played virtually every match for the Dash until she left right at the end of the season to go join a team in Scandinavia when they just had a makeup game to play. And she could very well be the Iron Woman for the Flash this season.
Jen, at the half, do you think head coach Randy Waldrum made any changes to this team that saw only 4 shots taken on them?
I don't think he would make changes so much as just, reinforce controlling the ball, finding their rhythm, and paying attention to those set pieces.
Here's another one coming up. Ella Masser was able to poke it clear for a corner kick. And Edwards will come over to take this one as well. Ella Masser playing defense while Klinenberg is out with the USA team. Sesselman as well with Canada. Corner sit in by Edwards, headed out and wide by Presley. This is Hinkle with the left foot. Sails over everybody.
I asked Randy Waldrum, when those players come back, and they will be back, for that July 12th game. Ostensibly, they would be back for June 27th if either team was eliminated Sunday or Monday. I was like, how do you incorporate them into this lineup? And he's like, that's one of the challenges is that, he has to put the best lineup out there, so it does mean people lose their starting spot. But I think it's also a reason he's been trying to recruit players who can play more than one position so that, say you have a lot of defenders, well, Camilla can play forward. Ella Masser can go back to playing forward.
This is Williams. One-on-one with Camilla, the 2 number 9. She gets a good left-footed, right-footed cross in. Bach with a defensive clearance. One-on-one with Edmonds. Laced out a play for a throw-in for the Dash. Camilla, who's playing just her 2nd game since coming over from Brazil. She was signed May 20th. Williams back to Fields. Played onto the outside, and a poor pass from the middle of the offense. That was Ashley Nick out of USC. Nick came from the Dash. She's played 3 games this year. This is her first start, though.
Yeah, mostly she's been coming off the bench at midfield for the Flash. And she was part of that trade to get Tony Presley after Stephanie Oakes went out with an injury. And, one of the things that Randy Waldrum said is that it worked out well for both teams because Nick was concerned that when the World Cup players did come back, that she wouldn't have a chance to play. And you look at the Flash, when their players come back, they've got a forward and a center back coming back, so she can still claim a place in the midfield.
5 minutes in, we're still 1-0 Dash leading. And they, well, I think Ojai thought she had won herself a corner. Instead, back to the spot for a goal kick.
Nick and Ojai have an interesting connection. Ashley Nick and Kaylee Ojai's older sister, Megan Ojai, both played on the 2007 USC team that won the national championship. Of course, Megan Ohai is now married to someone named Brian Cushing, but I'm not sure who that is.
Now we've seen them floating around here every once in a while, especially when football season gets back in full swing, which those training camps are just about to pick up. This is the goal assister, Brush, on the pass. Back to Presley. Oh, and a dangerous pass from Presley. Forces the clearance from Brush. Henderson with a header through. Ohai playing fairly far out wide. Ball sent long for Fields. She'll reach it before it gets out of play. With the left foot, passes it through. Mewis on the turn. Mewis looking for the shot. Goes to Williams. And then it's cleared out. Presley with a clearance that should have been for a throw-in. Instead goes for yet another corner kick, the third so far this half. They had 3 in the first half through 45 minutes. They have 3 in 5 minutes. Henninger, I don't think, is very happy with her defense right now. Those poor clearances forcing these corner kicks.
Especially when you got Becky Edwards taking the corner kick.
Edwards will place that ball outside the circle, but still on the line, which is legal. And send it in. And who did it? Caromed off the crossbar. Henninger was there to cover, though, if that had snuck into her area.
Starting to see some substitutes warming up on the sideline. I can see for the Dash, Allie Bailey, Cammie Privet, Jasmine Avant, Rachel Axon. Of course, Allie Bailey, first ever player in NWSL history, just amateur player, that is, to score a goal.
Dash have been kept on their own third so far. This is Edwards again, up top for Williams. To the outside, the move is on, down the right flank. Edmonds sent it through, and it's dispossessed. A Dash have it. This is Presley, the center back, moving forward, calling for help. The pass goes to Ohai. And she wanted to send McCarty through. Pardon me, McDonald. Tell you, McDonald's a physical presence out there with the sleeves rolled up. Intimidation, the name of her game. Masser with the right foot and the spinning clearance.
Masser can be an intimidating presence too. Before she got down to her smaller cast on her wrist, she had a huge orange wrapped claw, as we were calling it.
Never one that's not easy to pick out on the field of play. Ella Masser,
Right.
very conspicuous out there. Fiery as ever. This is Fields, taken down by Camilla, and our referee's going to say that she did not get the ball. The assistant on the far side also helping out with that call. Fields taking the jump. She may have got ball, but she went through the player in order to get it. And
Right.
that'll be a dangerous spot for the Flash here.
Hard to tell from that angle. A reverse angle would have been a little clearer. Very dangerous position.
Tough to take this one head on goal, so let's see what Edwards conjures with Edmonds standing to her right. Lots of grappling, a low cross, and they had an open man. That was Spencer who tried to backheel it, wanted to make a star-studded play for the 24-year-old. Couldn't quite pull it off.
Interesting to see Camilla come all the way up from that left back position. She was the furthest forward for the Dash. I think she wanted to make up with that call with a goal of her own.
Mewis trying to feed it through for Fields, who's playing outside. Calm on the back line for the Dash. Calm in the air right now after that 10-minute spark that they always talk about, the opening and closing of each half. 55th minute, still 1-0. Dash leading. A header in the 38th minute from Jessica McDonald, and there's a reciprocated foul on Bach, my apologies. Presley will tee it up. High line for Western New York, not quite at the 18. Cross, can't flick it on. Fields going one-on-one with Camilla, who wins out. Down the left side, has it touched away. It'll be a throw-in for the team in orange.
Camilla showing some nice two-way skills.
McCarty. Bach in the middle. Had Henderson running the wrong direction. Hinkle taps it away from herself. Too long of a touch, so we'll go back the other way. This is Masser on the near side. Henderson with a triangle set up. McCarty, McDonald calling for it at her feet. Henderson couldn't deliver. Masser with a sliding save to keep it in possession.
Always willing to sacrifice herself to keep the ball for her team.
Pass goes to the outside. Camilla finds Ojai. Ojai trying to cut back to that left foot. Pass up top. McCarty dribbling in with left-footed shot, just sails high. McCarty getting in on the action. The Florida State graduate out of Laurel, Maryland, still looking for her first goal of the season.
She was one of the top scorers for the Dash last season with 4, including a game with 2 goals in 1 game. She spent the 2013 season with Washington Spirit before being selected by the Dash in the expansion draft.
This is Williams on the run through the backside. Has a wide open Spencer, who again fluffs the shot.
You know she wants that back.
First it was the back heel, now it's the volley attempt on the cross that maybe sat up for her just a little too harsh.
Jasmine Spencer's another one of those players who spent the off-season in Australia. She was named Player of the Year for Sydney FC.
A few substitutions lining up for the Flash. Elizabeth Eddy. Looks like she'll be coming on to make a mark, as well as Kristen Hamilton.
Hamilton was drafted by the Flash in 2014, but did not play the entire season due to injury. Meanwhile, Eddy was just acquired in May with the trade with Sky Blue.
This is Spencer. Spencer moving through the defense with a shot. An easy save for Henninger. Oh, she'll be happy if they come from that distance all night long. Henninger, 5'6", comes out of Los Gatos, California. The Cats. The translation for that, for those left wondering.
And in the halftime video, you know, she talked about her dad, and her dad is another one of many Dash parents that we've seen travel to as many home games as possible.
We're getting our first substitutions here, and it's the Flash who do have to make moves down 1-0. And they'll be bringing off Ashley Nick. Eddy coming on. Kristen Hamilton. Lynn Williams also taking a seat. So a defensive midfielder and a forward. They're bringing out really 2 offensive players. So head coach Aaron Lyons the first to make a move. This is Camilla skating through the middle and may have reached a few deflections there. Did Jones keep it in play? She did. Able to save it from going out for a corner kick. Cross with a back flick. This is Fields. Camilla stabs her foot out there to stop play. Henderson. Houston on the move to the outside for Bach. This is Brittany Bach. Sends it wide left for Ojai. Chases up to it. And the leg stabbed in there, and offside is the call. Late flag on the call. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. You better keep her notes. How to play for a goal kick. 15 minutes through, 1-0. Dash lead on a 38th minute goal from McDonald and a header on a cross from Ellie Brush. So we've seen one move now from a head coach for the Flash. He had to make that move, you think, right, Jen?
Yeah, you got to change it up, especially I think with this heat, you know, that his players aren't necessarily going to be used to where the Dash are training it in every day. You're down a goal, time to mix it up, maybe put in some more offense and fresh legs.
They brought on two offensive weapons in Elizabeth Eddy and Kristen Hamilton. Shots deflected. Came from Fields. Presley got in the way. Another shot. Left-footed shot low into the right. And Henniger to her left. Let it go harmlessly for a goal kick. Well, there you see Mewis getting back into the flow of things. She's taken a back seat through that back half of the first half. In the last 20 minutes didn't really make an impact, and here she is with a couple of shots on, or toward target, I should say, forcing a move from Henninger.
And she is the future of the U.S. national team. She's only had, I think, 3 or 4 caps with the senior team. We probably won't see her in the next Olympic cycle, but she and her sister both, they're the next cycle, and it's not surprising to see her, even as a rookie, excel so quickly with this club.
Spencer to Edwards. And onto the outside for Dahlkemper. That was Hamilton's first touch. Finds her defender. Edmonds gets it right back. Edwards. They've got Hinkle open on the far side of the field, near side of the field. Hinkle with a left-footed cross in. Presley with that height, that size, able to get up and over her counterpart. This is McDonald. This is Henderson. Henderson on the run, has McDonald to her left. Ojai in the middle with a turn. Could leave it for Brock. Takes a shot either way. Sails over the goalkeeper's outstretched arms. Ojai. Her third goal of the season sends the Dash over the Flash 2-0. Comes in the 63rd minute. You didn't look like she had that open shot, but she decided to take a crack at it anyway.
She just worked through that defense, got the turn, perfect placement. Nice right-footed shot across the goal. Chantel Jones almost getting enough of a hand of it to keep it out, but couldn't keep it out. 2-0 for the Dash. That's a great place to be, and that's a great statement when they've just brought in two subs. Randy Waldrum's going to be feeling good about that. And Ojai, too, having not scored in several matches.
A header for McDonald. A right-footed thunder strike from Ojai, her third of the season in the 63rd minute. And Pereira is down on the touchline, getting attended to. So the substitution comes in. Or was it a sub? I think she's just getting attended to. There was no substitution. So the Dash playing a man down currently. We got word from down below. It looks like they're calling it a cramp of the right leg. Working on that calf. So Henderson has dropped back into the left back spot. An attack here from the Flash. Right-footed shot sails high and over from Elizabeth Eddy. One of her first touches out of Costa Mesa, California, the USC grad. Making her third appearance on the season. So the two forwards doing their job today for the Dash, both scoring a goal. And we still have plenty of game left, 30 minutes or so.
And both doing it in the style that they're known for. McDonald with that great pinpoint header off a feed from the back. And Ohai, always such a hard worker, working it through, finding an angle where you don't think there's an angle. And with that third goal, she's jumping up in the league standings. There's just, at this point, 3 other players with 3 goals on the season.
This is Fields, uncontested down the middle of the field. To the outside for Eddie. Eddie with Masser standing in front of her. Right-footed cross comes in, and it's cleared. Camilla looking to come back on the field, has not been allowed just yet as the shot goes begging wide right. And it looks like she has been attended to. She is coming back in.
Yeah, I talked about Mewis being, the future of the women's national team, and I would say the same about Ohai. She was a big part of that 2012 Under-20 Women's World Cup team that beat Germany 1-0 in the final. That was Ohai's goal, and as the veterans retire, you're going to have to replace them, and I think she's made a case for herself to be in that pool in the future.
Well, Jones has had shots flurry her way. She has gotten a hand to one of them. Still went in the back of the net, and the Dash leading 2-0 here. Trying to make it 3. It's out of play. Deflection off of Ohai. Lots of these youngsters who didn't get the call up for their national team. Camilla for Brazil, expected to still be in the discussion for the Olympics and the next go around in the next World Cup. She'll be 24 by then.
2 of the subs for Western New York Flash, Sabrina D'Angelo and Chelsea Stewart, part of the Canadian pool.
Bad giveaway in the middle. Eddie with an opportunity, and again, she scuffed the shot.
Chelsea Stewart was just named to the Canada squad for next month Pan American Games, which are also in Canada. That's more of a considered to be a U23 tournament for the most part, or just it's your B team.
They said there were 50 players across all of NWSL on 9 teams, and you have a roster of 20 players or so, and I'd say that's a pretty healthy number for the recognition of the league and for what everybody expects women's soccer to develop into over the next few years, especially with this World Cup and the Olympics going back-to-back years.
And a lot of those players, their teams are still in the knockout round. Germany defeating Sweden 3-1 today. That was Nadine Angera from the Thorns in goal.
1 in the middle by McDonald. Masser, cross to Henderson, who has also rolled up her sleeves. Trying to send Ohai through, is called yet again for an offside. That's the 3rd call she's had against her.
One of the round of 16 matches tomorrow, you have Brazil-Australia, so Camilla's compatriots will be fighting against Australia. There's NWSL players on both of those squads.
Ball sent through, Fields trying to catch up. Camilla is right there. Fields with a left-footed pass sniffed out by Presley. And of course, Brush for Australia came from Canberra United earlier this season, a championship-winning squad in the Women's League out in Australia. Ellie Brush, the provider of the first goal for the Dash. Ohai, the creator of hers.
And you had talked about, how soccer schedules against Women's World Cup sometime in the regular World Cup. And one thing that's nice about the NWSL schedule and the Australian League schedule is they don't overlap at all. They're both short seasons, so players can go from NWSL to the W League and stay in shape and get high-level competition.
Through pass from Henderson sends McDonald running the wrong direction, but she's won the throw-in here for the Dash. 70th minute, Houston leads 2-0. A long throw-in coming from McDonald. Bach has been the selector of these headers. Instead, she goes short to Masser as the line creeps up. Passes sent in, far side. McCarty with a header. And Jones there this time to stop it from going into her net. Presley wins the header on the opposite end. Tiffany McCarty only stands 5'4", going up against Taylor and Dalkemper, who are both 5'8" and 5'7", respectively, on that back line.
Maybe time for a dash sub, as we're seeing Rachel Axon take off her training penny, talk to the coach. I would guess that she's coming on for Brittany Bach, but we'll see.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup returns this summer. Houston was awarded a group round match for the 2015 CONCACAF Gold Cup right here at BBVA Campus Stadium. Costa Rica will be featured along with 3 other teams in this group. The doubleheader will start Saturday, July 11th. Tickets on sale coming soon. Visit BBVACampusStadium.com.
One of those matches in that doubleheader will be Canada-Jamaica, featuring Dynamo's own Giles Barnes suiting up for Jamaica.
Along with CONCACAF, you have the Euro qualifying going on across the Atlantic.
Copa America is about to get to the quarterfinal stage.
Copa America. You have the Women's World Cup going on right now. It's just a very good time to be a soccer fan. It's really been nonstop since the World Cup last year.
And yesterday was the final for the Under-20 Men's World Cup in New Zealand, with Serbia beating Brazil 2-1. U.S. lost to Serbia on penalty kicks in the quarterfinals, and I think it went to like the 10th shooter. That's how far it was going on the PKs.
You've got Copa also going on right now down in South America. Big stories out of there. Brazil continuing that form that they had in the World Cup, losing to Colombia.
Just hoping it's not the 7-1 loss form. The other form, the other form.
And speaking of Colombia, they'll be playing the United States coming up on Monday. So now you see my tie-in.
Nice. All right, we have coming on the field one of the 2 Dash players in history who has converted a penalty kick. That is Rachel Axon, coming on for Brittany Bach.
So Bach takes a seat as the attacking midfielder, and Rachel Axon, as Jen just mentioned, hails from London, but she went to school at Oregon State. And here's how I also tie this into what I was talking about earlier, Jen. Her favorite team is Chelsea.
Nice, nice. Just don't tell Randy Waldron that her favorite team is Chelsea.
I'm sure she's already told him that. I'm sure she let him know when the English Premier League finished a month ago.
I just love the story that, you know, when a colleague sent him tape from a league in Norway, that he remembered her from when she had played for Oregon State against his Notre Dame.
Onto the outside. This is Hamilton, who is called offside. Yeah, Axon, born in London, raised in the United States for college, Oregon State, making her 7th appearance on the season. She does have a goal. You mentioned that penalty, has played 566 minutes. That goal came against Chicago.
Yeah, when she stepped up and took that penalty, we have such a weak history of penalties. It was so great to just see her just like, no worries, converted. And then the next game, she drew a penalty, but did not take it. And that was kind of a surprise to the fans watching. But Randy said she felt uncomfortable taking it, having been the one to draw the foul. But I hope in the future they just say, Rachel, just take them. You know what you're doing, take them.
Ohai didn't look too comfortable when you go back and watch tape, that penalty that she took against Portland. We'll get back to that in just a moment. Spencer has it poked away from behind, and foul is called against Ella Masser, and the card is out. And she'll be getting yet another yellow card. That's her 3rd this season. She better be careful. They rack those up. You can get a suspension with 5 yellow cards, and here's another look at it. Did come from behind, did get the player.
Yeah, last year she ended up with 4 yellows, didn't quite get to suspension level. But once you hit 5, you have to sit out a game. And unlike MLS, there's no good behavior discount if you go a certain number of games without them.
So the first yellow card, the first booking, comes against Ella Masser here in the 74th minute. It's nothing that'll keep her awake at night.
No, she will never apologize for fierce play, and we won't apologize for it either.
Edwards not hovering over this kick. It'll be Dahlkemper, the center back. Standing with her is Samantha Mewis. So let's see what the Flash conjure up here with a good opportunity to get one back. It'll be Dahlkemper off the wall. And 2 players go down. Popping up real quickly, though, is Axon. Another cross sent in. Presley with a heading save. And McDonald trying to poke it forward. And the counterattack is on. Axon keeps it in. Henderson taken down. Whistle finally blown, and it'll be a dash free kick. How about Axon stepping in the way of that Dahlkemper shot? Not like she had a choice.
Right. I was worried for a moment that that would have been Ella Masser in that wall taking another one on her nose, because she does have a record now of five nose jobs. So I'm glad it wasn't her taking the hit on the face. But pretty tough to watch the inability of the dash to get that ball cleared. You could see Nikki Cross trying to calm it down, pass it, let's start the counter, but got to get it further away.
Another substitution for both teams. It will be Chelsea Stewart coming in. She'll take off Kristen Edmonds, the defender. And for the dash coming on, it'll be one of those amateur players, Allie Bailey out of Texas A&M. Long save from Brittany Taylor off the top of her toe to keep that out of the waiting grasp of McDonald. Jen, you mentioned earlier Bailey's goal that she has scored this year, the only amateur player in NWSL history to score a goal.
And a very important goal, a very late equalizer at Sky Blue about 3 weeks ago to get the tie for the dash on the road. Very important.
Just graduated from a team at Texas A&M. Coach G. Guerreri, who mans the squad over there. I had the pleasure of doing a few of their games last season, and they went very deep, one of their deepest runs that they've had in a long
the
time.
first time they ever made the Final Four. I know they've made Sweet 16 so many times, Elite 8 several times, finally got to that Final Four. And many of Allie Bailey's teammates did get drafted into NWSL.
Well, her other teammate, who was her keeper, Jordan Day, sits on the bench for the dash in this game. Most likely won't see her, even though she's been known to play out on the field. She is the backup goalkeeper.
That would be something to see.
Well, that's 3 substitutions for the Flash, and that's a couple substitutions now for the dash.
Well, and you had mentioned the Olympics previously. I want to give a nod to Chelsea Stewart. She was part of Canada's Olympic squad in 2012. Their bronze medal finish, getting a late goal in the bronze medal match against France. And for Canada, well, we'll come back to it after this. For Canada, that moment, getting that bronze was very similar to the USA 1999 winning the World Cup moment. It really took the sport to the next level in the country in terms of fan support.
So with all 3 substitutions made for Western New York, the Dash can choose to make one more substitution if they need to. Bailey playing on the right side. She'll receive it here from McDonald. She'll cut inside. Trying to set herself up on the right foot, sends in a sailing shot. Taken in easily by Jones. Jones without a loss on the season as a starting goalkeeper for Western New York. She has 1 win, 1 draw after serving that 1-game suspension.
Yeah, Sabrina D'Angelo, their starting keeper, still recovering from that injury suffered when she kind of took a knock with Liz Bogus, the game at Kansas City. Like 15th minute, she had to come out.
Down the middle, Eddie, just to the outside of the penalty area. And if she hadn't gone for it, they would have not had to raise the flag because Fields, I think, was onside. She was the one that should have gotten there, and I think she's whispering something to her teammate as she walks away from her. 80th minute. Still 2-0 Dash, and they are looking to wrap this one up tight, put a bow on it, and go into another long break before they play again with the Women's World Cup in action. They're taking these long breaks in the NWSL season just to make sure that these teams can have a full crop of talent to play with over the next coming weeks. Hard challenge from behind. Hamilton won out on it. Brush took the extent of that. This is Hinkle to the outside for Eddie. Eddie beats Masser to the inside. Eddie crosses it through, and it's taken out by Cross. It'll be a corner kick, yet another for the Flash.
Meanwhile, the Chicago Red Stars Washington Spirit game still on a weather delay. We don't have the information on what kind of weather Chicago's dealing with, but that's got to be tough. Those two teams sitting at top of the standings.
This is Edwards, yet again ready for the corner kick. More players forward, comes in, double-fisted punch from Hittinger, and then cleared out by Ojai.
I'm sure the Dash players can remember a nice weather delay at Chicago early in that first season. I think they had to sit around 2-3 hours before they could kick off the game.
Axon gets a toe to it. This is Ojai. Has McDonald up to her left. Running down the right flank is Bailey, and she'll receive it. Near side. Bailey cuts back. She's got a teammate open on the far side. A 1-2 played. Ojai, the goal scorer of the second goal, has it deflected. Don't miss the Dash. Take on the Chicago Red Stars Sunday, July 12th. That'll happen right here at 7:30 p.m. BBVA Compass Stadium. You can buy your tickets at houston-soccer.com.
Not only will all 6 of the Dash's Women's World Cup players be back, but there will be 8 for Chicago Red Stars coming back. 4 U.S., 3 Canada, 1 New Zealand.
Canada and USA still to play in this knockout round of 16. This is Eddie. Eddie again one-on-one with Masser. Trying to find an open lane. Masser with a sliding tackle save for yet another corner kick. Head coach Randy Waldrum wants to make his last substitution. It'll be Jordan Jackson coming onto the field. Tiffany McCarty will take a breather. And Jen, I hate to say it, they always say don't make substitutions on corner kicks as the defense. It's just one of those running themes that
Don't jinx it, Lane. Don't jinx it.
Head coach Randy Waldrum doesn't care about, but I've heard it before. So with McCarty taking a seat, Jackson from Nebraska coming on, born and raised out of Overland Park, Kansas, making her second appearance on the season. This is Edwards with yet another corner. Far post, and it's headed out and wide by Jordan Jackson, who just came onto the field. And now it's another breakaway attempt for Ojai. She's got the speed. Keeper off her line, sneaks past the last defender, and it's one-on-one with the goalie. Ojai, low shots blocked by Jones. The follow-up from Bailey is blocked by Jones. 2 great chances for the Dash. Jones comes up big in the process.
Great run by Ojai to get past several defenders, get a shot off. Jones had enough time to set up on that. And Allie Bailey, you saw similar to the goal she had at Sky Blue. She was ready to take the rebound for that, just didn't quite get the right footing on it.
Like a stallion stumbling out of the gates, Bailey almost tumbled over her own feet. Finally regained her footing and just took it right into Jones. Jones coming up big. She got a hand to one of the goals. The header she couldn't do anything about. And with her defense letting her down, I guess Jones is doing everything she can to make this a respectable score line. Still 2-0.
And what a great way for the Dash to turn that corner into an attack.
Usually you think of McDonald being the speedster with the skills that she has to run an open space, but Ojai there showing why she is also considered a threat, not just creating her own chances, but also running down the field.
She is not afraid to work hard for this team, whether it's offensively or defensively. And I remember one of the things that, General Manager Brian Ching said last season, he's like, she works too hard sometimes. She runs too much. I'm trying to teach her how to run smarter. And I think I can see the difference this season in the run she chooses to make.
Ball sent through and headed clear for the moment. And you see the Flash. They're in desperation mode. They had to bring more defenders, players forward in order to try and get that goal off that corner kick. and left them thin and spread open at the back. To the outside, Mewis, who's been silent all game. Save for a shot here or there, nothing challenging for Henninger. This is Spencer. Dalkemper, the center back, now playing in the midfield. This is Bailey. Running down the middle of the field, it's 2-on-3. Bailey, who's already had a shot blocked, will cut it back and wait for the cavalry to arrive. This is Ojai. Teasing the left foot before she turns it around, drops it back to Axon.
The Flash are giving them so much time and space, and of course the Dash are just going to take advantage and run the clock down as much as they can.
86th minute. Pretty much it's wait out and see out for the Dash to collect their 3rd win of the season.
To be only the second time, or excuse me, the first time since opening night that they will have won by 2 goals.
They only have 1 win over the Flash in the 3 matches that they've played. 2, my apologies, 2 wins over the Flash that they've played. I tell you, even I get confused with the Dash and the Flash when I'm looking at the notes. We have seen that dashing speed, if I may be so bold.
Yeah, their 3-game win streak last June, 2 of those 3 games were against the Flash. And then the Flash came back with a vengeance in the next month and topped them 4-1.
Headed back by Camilla, wise decision to her goalkeeper, who can just sit on it until she is challenged to pick it up.
It's a chess match.
So we mentioned the long delay, Jen, about when the Dash will see the field next here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Not till July 12th when they take on the Red Stars, who are top of the table right now. It could change after tonight if that game doesn't get underway, but you'd like to say that when you get a win like this and it continues your unbeaten streak and you go into a long break like the Dash did with a 0-0 draw against the Thorns that some may argue they should have won or should have lost, you got to like where you're at going into the back half of the season when they approach that halfway point.
Especially knowing that you're very close to getting your World Cup players back, you know, that you'll have a squad at full strength. And, you know, I know Randy Waldron feels that last year they never really had a squad at full strength.
Well, you and I were joking about how I've done a handful of these games now, and every time I come to do a Dash game, my sister, the first question she asks is, when am I going to see some of these big, bold names that represent the United States or Canada that you're used to hearing, the Sidney LaRue's, the Carly Lloyds, the Morgan Bryans,
and
the
they're never
Clintonbergs.
here when you're here.
And they're never here when I'm here.
It's like you're the amateur call-up. You're taking Carly Lloyd's place.
I'll take it. Valley Bailey can score goals and make history. I'll do the same up here on the mics.
You know, when Kaylee Ojai scores the winning goal in the 2019 Women's World Cup, you can say, hey, I was there. I was there when she was playing in the NWSL.
Bad pass from Cross. Dash have to be careful. There's still time left in this game. Still 2 minutes of regular time before we reach stoppage time.
Can't imagine that we'd see too much stoppage with just, you know, the goal. And I guess Camilla's injury, she went out pretty quickly, so it didn't really delay anything on the field.
Goal kick awarded to the Dash, and the referee making a slight motion to Henninger to get this game moving. Don't risk getting a sloppy yellow card for time wasting.
And I feel like New York Flash has just kind of, you know, kind of shrugged their shoulders and gone, okay, this game is over. And maybe this is where you really see the rookie side of the team. Is like they have the skills, but cohesively as a group, can they handle a full 90 when maybe things aren't going their way, or the humidity is 90%.
A completely different game and a completely different result from what they had against the Chicago Stars right before the break. Handball given against the Dash, so here's a last-ditch opportunity for Western New York. Try and snag one back late in the game. We've had goals from McDonald in the 38th minute, Ojai in the 63rd minute. Edwards with direction from head coach Aaron Lyons, who's up on the touchline. She'll send it in. Back post. Headed on and out of play.
And it's important to note that, even if the Flash lose but they score, that goal could, at the end of the season, be a potential tiebreaker when it comes down to goal differential. We've seen how close the standings are in the league. Last year, Chicago Red Stars only missed the playoffs because of a tiebreaker.
The Dash in positive goal differential now, +2 on the season. That sends the Flash lower in goal differential now to -3. 3 minutes added on, as you can see on your screen. That's the minimum.
So with a win, the Dash move up to 3rd place. And of course, still waiting on Chicago Red Stars and Washington Spirit to restart. Those two, Dash can't reach their point total. It'll be interesting to see which one of those pulls ahead, or maybe they split points, or maybe that game doesn't get played tonight. Maybe it has to get rescheduled. There are stipulations of how long they can wait before it has to start.
Jen, I asked you at the beginning of the broadcast, to bring it full circle, what we would do 2 weeks off with this team being maybe a little loose-legged, stiff. What have you seen in this 90 minutes that has impressed you with what head coach Randy Waldrom's done over that 2-week break?
Well, I wouldn't say that this is something that Randy's done, but I think the beauty of having a little more rest between games, and 2 weeks is a lot, but just the scheduling for this season I like so much better than last season. The last-minute decision they made for 2014 when they added the Dash was, do we add games so that you play everybody 3 times or not? And they made the decision to add games, and that was brutal, that they would sometimes have 6 games in 15 days. This has been a much better pattern of games, and I think Randy's taken advantage of it, used that time off to let the players rest, but also refocus, and it's paying off.
About 90 seconds left in this one before it's put to bed.
And I know these Dash players are focused on keeping Flash off the board. It doesn't matter, sure, 2-0, 2-1, it's still a win. The shutout means a lot when they had so few last year.
Henninger on 3 shutouts this season, and that includes a bunch of the draws that they've had, with 4 that they've had. A couple of those have ended 0-0. And she'll get her 4th draw here, and she really didn't have to do too much in goal today like she did 2 weeks ago against Portland. The big saves didn't come on her end of the field this time.
You could tell that defensively, I think they were much more organized, so the keeper didn't have to come up big. When your keeper has to come up that big so much, something's wrong in front of you.
Their next game will be against the Washington Spirits. That will be on June 27th on a Saturday.
And that'll be in D.C., or rather technically Boyd's, Maryland. The beautiful Sportsplex, the Maryland Sportsplex out there. It's such a great place to watch a game. Beautiful grass field. And the last time the Dash met the Spirit was opening night this season, right at this stadium. Carly Lloyd and Khalil High getting the goals. I know the Spirit are going to want to change that up, especially as Crystal Dunn, one of the scoring leaders for the league, has found her form.
Well, the tables will shift tonight in favor of the Houston Dash. Final whistle should be coming very soon. They may let Western New York finish out this last gas ditch. And Jackson passes it through the middle, and the final whistle blows. McDonald and Ojai power Houston to their 3rd win of the season. They improved to 3-2-4, while Western New York falls to 3-4-1. That goal in the 38th minute from McDonald was assisted by Ellie Brush, and Ojai created her own chance and her own goal in the 63rd minute. Ella Masser with the lone yellow card of the game. In the 74th minute, Henninger with her 4th clean sheet of the season. Jen, your final thoughts?
That could be the most important win of the season for us in terms of this period of phase 2 of the season while the international players are gone, that it's like 6 points when the standings are so close. So when we get back to the national teamers coming back at the end of the season, that could be the most important win all season.
And we mentioned the Dash will be on the road coming up here soon, next Saturday against Washington. But they do return home against Chicago a couple of weeks after that, July 12th. So there will be big breaks. But the next game that you can catch for women's soccer that, you know, all these people are going to be watching is Canada coming up tomorrow with the few players that that Canada have from the Dash, McLeod, Sesselman, and Chapman. And then for the USA, Brian, Lloyd, and Klinenberg. That'll wrap it up from BBVA Compass Stadium as the Dash handle business at home. 2-0 your final. For Jen Cooper, I'm Lane Zeben. Thanks for joining us.
As a BBVA Compass customer, you have the chance to show your true colors every time you open your wallet.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Presenting Dynamo Banking, featuring debit and credit card options that can help you reach your goals. Open your account today at any of our 80 locations in Houston or online at bbvacompass.com/dynamo. Team works in soccer and in banking.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
From the first time the ball hit the back of the net, we could feel a sport on the rise. Our passion burning, our tradition building, our city united. Amongst a sea of orange, we are the home field advantage. We began, we will remain, forever orange, forever one.
We're back in Houston, Texas, BBVA Compass Stadium. 2-0 the final. Another shutout for the Houston Dash over the Western New York Flash. Lane Zeben joined by Jen Cooper up in the booth. We saw what was going on down on the field, but let's get a first-hand account of it with Kalia Ohai, our player of the game. Kalia, do you have any breath left from what happened during that run towards the end of the game?
Barely. It was a counterattack, just a classic counterattack, and I wish I would have finished it, but I was pretty out of breath for a couple minutes after that.
All right, Kalia, talk about the importance of defending set pieces. I know the goals, of course, were a big part of this win, but also set pieces, which in the past, defending has been a problem for the Dash, but tonight, with all those corner kicks, you guys shut Western New York Flash down.
Yeah, it's always a huge focus of ours, defending corner kicks and free kicks, and they got so many, especially at the end in the second half. And it's really just a mentality for us. We've been practicing them a lot, and we have a lot of great headers on the team and a lot of big players, and it really comes down to just who wants it more. And I think tonight we finally showed that mentality where we weren't going to get beat to the ball no matter what, and that's what happens. You get a shutout.
Kalia, can you talk us through that goal just a little bit and what you saw and why you took that shot at that exact moment?
Yeah, Mel had the ball, and I think me and Mel we have a great connection, and I know when she has it in midfield, she's looking for me. And so I got it, and I turned, and I thought the outside back was going to step, and she didn't. So I thought might as well hit it, and it went far post, and I'm happy to have scored to make it 2-0. I think it kind of took some pressure off us at the end.
Well, Kalia, the team has a week off. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to seeing y'all when you come back home in a couple of weeks' time back against the Chicago Stars on July 12th. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right. When we come back, or actually we're going to take a look at a couple of highlights from the game today. There was a lot going on, and the Dash Gen had a bunch of shots that they took from outside the box, and that's where they got most of their goals from, especially the big header, too, from McDonald.
I know, I guess they decided let's just go over the defense instead of through the defense, and that's what made the difference in this match. Good to see Tiffany McCarty getting in on the action, and then nice feed from Henderson back to Ojai, making that turn, getting through those defenders where we didn't think there was an angle there, but she found it.
She was able to score the second goal. That came in the 63rd minute, while the header came from McDonald. And Ella Masser on that back line showed her worth in defense. That was later in the second half from McCarty, who had a few shots on goal. And this was that long-winded run of almost, you want to call that 50-yard run?
Easily.
A 50-yard sprint down the middle of the field. And even though Bailey couldn't capitalize, it was good to see the amateur get in there who's already scored a goal this season for the Dash.
Oh, and just the Dash keeping up the pressure. You're up, but, you know, it's not over till it's over. You got to keep fighting, and they wanted not only the win but the shutout.
Some of the stats from this game, the Dash clearly won 2-0, but they were outshot 13-11, and the corner kicks as well in favor of the Dash, or of the Flash, sorry. They were even on fouls 6-6, and it really all culminated in what you would think the Dash would like to see on the stat sheet, turning it into a win.
As long as you have more goals at the end, the other stats don't matter.
That'll wrap it up from BBVA Compass Stadium. 2-0 your final as the Dash move to 3 wins on the season. 13 points in the table. They're up to third. For Jen Cooper, I'm Lane Zeben. That'll wrap it up from Houston, Texas. Good evening and good night.